Kali, the Hindu goddess of destruction, is a melee physical power assassin. She has very high and sustainable damage with her abilities as well as auto attacks. She lacks a solid escape, however, if you can learn to use this goddess of destruction properly, you should have little need for such things. Kali's passive, Enrage. Kali starts with lifesteal. When Kali falls below 25% health, she gets enraged, gaining additional lifesteal for a short time. This can only occur once a minute. Kali Rage. Kali fuels herself with her rage, increasing her physical power and movement speed for a short time. While active, her basic attacks, Bloodlash and Frenzy, also cause her targets to bleed every 0.5 seconds for 2 seconds. Kali Rage, up until recently, was simply a damage steroid as well as a movement increase for a few seconds. However, recently, Kali has had a bit of a rework with her Kali Rage and how it works, being that now her auto attacks apply a bleed as well as Bloodlash and Frenzy. So this has made this ability become even more awesome. You've got movement speed as well as the power, and then the bleed all together makes it very nice to be able to chase people down at the end, combined with your Bloodlash, which does a whole bunch of damage already. If you're chasing down an enemy using your Kali Rage, you can hit with the Bloodlash, or maybe even an auto attack. If you don't quite get the kill, there's always a chance that that bleed will be able to tick off at the end and go ahead and get you the kill. Bloodlash. Kali strikes out at all enemies in a cone in front of her, dealing damage to them all. Okay, her number 2 ability, Bloodlash. This hits extremely hard. It's just your basic AoE frontal cone out in front of you that casts basically instantly and does damage instantly, but this thing hits incredibly hard. This is one of the main reasons why I sometimes do a physical power build with Kali. It just depends on how the game is going, but going like a purely physical power build, Gear 2 is going to hit incredibly hard, and it's just so easy to clean up kills this way, especially when you combine it with Kali Rage. Siphon Blood. Kali saps enemies of their blood, causing damage to all enemies in the area while healing herself for each enemy hit up to 3. Kali heals an additional 20% from any targets hit that were affected by her bleed. Her number 3 ability, Siphon Blood. This thing with the recent rework of Kali Rage is nice because it just allows for more healing, as well as the healing now is not delayed anymore, which was a little annoying before, but now the healing takes place about instantly at the same time that the damage takes place. There is a slight cast time with this ability, so it's actually kind of neat because you can activate it as you're walking up to what you're attempting to lifesteal from. You can lifesteal just real quickly and then just back out of the way, so you don't have to kind of, just stand near them. You can run up, run right back away, which is nice. Now, if you have a bleeding target, you get 20% extra healing from that target. So if you have 3 targets that are all bleeding, let's say if you hit your Kali Rage, you hit your Bloodlash, and then your Siphon Blood on 3 targets, you're going to be getting healed for quite a lot of healing, especially if you're going with the physical power build. Siphon Blood is going to hit harder, so therefore it's also going to heal you for a whole lot more. Kali's ultimate, Frenzy. Kali spins around feverishly, attacking all enemies around her every 0.5 seconds, clearing and ignoring all crowd control abilities on herself for the duration. This ultimate, it can do a lot of damage, especially if you get ahead early game, but in general, if it's just your average game where you're not getting super fed, this ability is not necessarily going to do a whole ton of damage, especially if you're not going with a straight physical power build. If you're going more of like a crit attack speed build, this isn't going to be doing a terrible amount of damage. Even if when you're doing a physical power build, if you're not getting fed, it's not going to do a terrible amount, but one of the great things about it, of course, it is an AoE, so it is good in team fights. Also, the being immune to crowd control effects for so long, and also being able to bust out of a CC. If you get frozen, you can pop it and just, head for the hills or whatever you need to do, if that is something that you need to do. Especially when you're going with an attack speed crit type of build and you don't need to save it to do a lot of damage. Her ultimate is a very good way to escape. Now you can also combine her ultimate with Sprint, which makes for an even more quick escape, or if you have someone that's trying to speed away, you can pop your Sprint and Frenzy to be able to make sure that you are keeping up with the target. The priority for leveling skills for Kali is very simple and straightforward, based on maximum damage and poking ability early game. Basically, you're going to want to grab your Bloodlash first, followed by Kali Rage, and then Blood Siphon, and your ultimate when it's available, of course. Other than that, you're going to be focusing on leveling your 2 Bloodlash, followed by your 1 Kali Rage, your 3 Siphon Blood, and then you're just going to be leveling up your ult whenever possible. Alright, now we're going to be going over the item build for Kali. Starting off, I like to start with Warrior Tabby 1, Death's Toll, and 1 Health Pot. At first back, I would like to finish Tabby or get Tabby 2 and start Devourer's Gloves. After finishing Warrior Tabby and Devourer's Gloves, I will move on to Jotun's Wrath for CDR as well as a little flat pen. Void Blade is an item I always like to grab when laning against another physical god in lane. Deathbringer adds a lot of physical power, and the crit passive is nice as well. The last item I like to go with a lot of the time is Titan's Bane. The physical power and penetration are nice. This item is not always the best choice if the other team is not very tanky, or the tanks are posing no threat to your team. Some other options for this slot could be Frostbound Hammer. I get this item if I am pretty far ahead, but not far enough ahead to just 3 to 4 shot people. This way, I can prevent people from escaping that should fear me because I have been fed. However, if you are super fed, there's not really a use for slowing the enemy, as you can just 3 to 4 shot them down very easily. Another option, if the opposing team is building high HP, is Kin's Blade. Lastly, if I want to go for more of an auto attack build, I will pick up Rage and trade out Devo Gloves for Soul Eater. These, combined with Deathbringer, make for lots of hard hitting crits that come very fast. For activated abilities for Kali, I usually get either Purification Beads and Sprint, or Aegis Amulet and Sprint. With Beads and Sprint, these can be used to either help chase down an enemy, or as a defensive option to be able to run away. With Aegis and Sprint, this allows for you to have a few seconds of invulnerability as well as a quick getaway or to chase someone down. Right now, it really just depends on the team comp whether you want to get Beads or whether you want to get Aegis. Just look at the other team and what abilities you're going to need to avoid, and that's how you can decide what items to choose. Kali is very squishy and can get bursted down very quickly in an early laning phase. I like to make sure I'm laning with a tank support or someone with a decent heal to be able to keep me alive during early game trades. On the other hand, Kali has a lot of good harass potential with her Kali Rage and Bloodlash. This is especially true if you can secure the blue buff. Be sure to poke early and often with the aforementioned Kali Rage and Bloodlash, especially if you have XP advantage and can harass with an extra level on your enemy. I play Kali sort of like a lightweight boxer, constantly moving around in and out on the enemy. I would never go in and commit to a kill very early on in the game. I will rather poke them down while moving in and out quickly using Kali Rage for extra speed. Once you think you're ready to go for a kill, be sure to let your support engage and work off of their stun or other type of CC or tool that gives you the advantage. If you can get to the target without using Kali Rage or Bloodlash, then great, but if not, using them as an opener can work too. If they are already somewhat low on HP to begin with, Kali Rage and Bloodlash should make them lose all will to fight and they should just turn tail and run. If so, now you have to attempt to chase them down with what's left of Kali Rage and possibly a Siphon Blood or an auto attack or two. The other option, and this can happen a lot early game, is to just let them run. Maybe they have a creep row approaching or are just too fast to catch. Don't be afraid to let them go and continue to farm while they are forced to recall or sit back and lose experience. This is a good time to begin last hitting creeps to make the enemy lose as much XP as possible. Kali makes for a pretty good ganker as well. Just come up behind an unsuspecting enemy and Kali Rage / Bloodlash and start auto-attacking away. If they try to run, you can use your ult to secure the kill. Be sure to warn your teammates with a gank call beforehand. Late game with Kali can go one of two ways. Either the other team will be afraid of you, in which case you could trample all over them. Sometimes I can 1v3 and after Kali Rage and Bloodlash combo, they will just scatter and run and you can pick off one or two easily enough. And if they are not afraid of you, you will have to choose your battles and how to enter them much more carefully. Even a super fed Kali can be 2 or 3 shot by quite a few gods in this game. So if they are more likely to focus you than to run or scatter, make sure to stay behind your tanks or try to enter mid-team fight from the jungle for easy access to the squishies in the back lines.
missing right.
Yeah, you're scaring the shit out of me, bro, so you gotta kind of chill out.
Job.